sé de tirar. Nos vamos de ruta en el Racer Son con unas troconas, somos un clicón, puras marcas finas, LV la bolsa y Gucci el cinturón. Y así suena Ramiro LR. nobody's watching. Don't really care if my rhythm's off, 'cause I'm gonna dance like nobody's watching me. I'm gonna dance by myself like nobody's watching. Don't really care if my rhythm's off, 'cause I've been feeling lost, I've been feeling pain. And no matter what I do, I just feel like I do what I do for you. Tried to call the doctor, it didn't help. Took a trip back to the sun to revive myself. But no matter what I do, I just feel like I do what I do for you. I'm gonna dance, 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 dance. I'm gonna dance, 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 dance. I'm gonna dance, dance, dance like nobody's watching me. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna dance. I'm gonna dance by myself like nobody's watching. Don't really care if my rhythm's off, 'cause I'm gonna dance like nobody's watching me. I'm gonna dance by myself like nobody's watching. Don't really care if my rhythm's off, 'cause I'm gonna dance like nobody's watching me. I'm gonna dance, 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 dance. 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 I'm gonna
Well, welcome back. We are here for the ACER Malta GT3 Championship. It is myself, James Otter, alongside Adam Reed here for tonight for this first round of this new season of Malta GT3 action, brought to you by ACER, Hyundai, Intercomp, Monster Energy, Brand Garage, Level Academy and The Specialist. We are going live now into qualifying for this one, Adam. Welcome back to this championship as well, Adam. Should be an absolute cracker.
It will be. Of course, we're at Zandvoort for the first one as well. It's going to be mighty interesting, and plenty of returning drivers that are in the mix. So for sure, look out for them. And we'll head in towards the dunes of Zandvoort to cover round one. We have 5 European races before then hopping over to the US to complete the final 3. It's sure to be an absolute corker of a season.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, one that was frightfully won by none other than Sheldon Muscat last time out, of course, in that Bentley Continental GT3 last time out over on Assetto Corsa Competizione. But, of course, drivers out there ready and raring to go for what will be, no doubt, a very, very interesting set of events ahead of us. Of course, qualifying really only just kicking off in the last 10 minutes or so. Apologies for all of the slight delays that we've had. I think some technical issues, and I will hold my hands up, Adam, on this one. Unfortunately, traffic led to me being a bit late here, so that probably didn't help matters, so apologies to all the team here at Velocity Esports for that one. But nonetheless, Karabot leading the way though in the Ford Mustang, and no surprises, the Ford Mustang known for its sort of pace around circuits like this one here in ACC, leading the way from Adrian Manduca, of course, but never ever discredit the likes of this man as we're following at the moment in Martinelli. He's riding around in his Ferrari, getting a nice little tow from a McLaren just in front.
It is indeed, and of course some newer viewers may think, what's going on with the circuit? Well, this is the old layout. This was before they upgraded it to its grade one that they needed to host the Formula One Dutch Grand Prix. So this was pretty much 2020, before the pandemic even happened, and we're already looking at some of our top runners there. You see Ryan Carabot currently sitting in the pits in his Ford Mustang. Of course, all coated in carbon fiber with this carbon fiber livery. But looking around the circuit, it is going to be mighty. See what these guys can do. Adrian Manduka, of course, a returning driver, second in the running, had 3 wins to his name and 7 podiums, but it wasn't quite enough to shut down Sheldon Muscat, who got 8 podiums in his road, including 3 wins in a row. Mighty effort from the Bentley Continental, but it doesn't seem like Sheldon Muscat will be racing this season. So the championship is wide open.
Yeah, it certainly is. I think one thing I'm certainly looking forward to on this one as well is watching Adrian Manduka, because I'm used to seeing him in his Project Aversio liveried car driving in the Ford Mustang, but electing for a Ferrari for this particular championship, of course, to keep competing in the GT Cup only a few months ago in that Ford Mustang. So he's going to want to watch. Here's Sean Cassar in the Intercomp liveried McLaren. So he's looking to try and get himself up there as well. Of course, last time out, Sean Cassar managing, you know, a valiant effort, to be fair, in other GT Cup championships, but in the end, this one, I think, is his first appearance, if I'm not mistaken, in this particular championship. He'll be looking to set an early precedent, and P4 is not a bad one.
No, it's not. It's very much a strong result, and of course, so far, all of our drivers will be hoping to get some decent laps so far. Some drivers have got varying experiences on the you can see on the left hand side. Some of them are pros, some of them are amateurs, some are silvers as well, so a lot of variety experiences. Have we got a Lightning McQueen livery down the pit lane? It does look like it. I do think that it does look like Quattromani. That would be absolutely fantastic out on the racetrack. So he's currently sitting 13th, but let's have a look here. Let's have a look at Dominic Zimmerman, but there is a livery of Gabriel Quattromani. Oh, look at that!
Absolutely beautiful from Dominic Zimmerman as well, racing for the Lizard Racing team, and what is a gorgeous looking livery for him in the Lamborghini. Not a car known for its out and out pace. There is Gabriel Quattromani in his Lightning McQueen inspired number 95 444 Ferrari. He raced with that one, I believe, as well in the GT Cup not too long ago as well, so it's always a pleasure to see that one. He's a good racer as well, Quattromani, in the GT car, so he's going to be one to watch in the midfield. For those just for sort of trying to get used, of course, to ACC, if I'm right in saying anyway, the red numbers that you see to your left of your screen are our rookies for this championship. The ones in grey are our semi-pros. Our pro drivers are the ones in white. So leading the way though, Ryan Carabot in the Ford Mustang right at the top. Adrian Manduka, no surprises, is up there alongside, of course, and would you believe it, Denzel Argius as well in P5. He's certainly going to be one to watch. Sean Cassar up in P4 just in front of him though. And then in that midfield, the fastest of the rookies, would you believe, actually is Dimich Gershi as well in the P3. He's actually had a really good lap in the fastest of the McLarens.
Yeah, superb stuff there from a lot of the drivers. I should just spotted there, Sean Cassar, to say, going up to P3, a quadruple set of McLarens there from 3rd down to 6th. They're going to be looking strong. I think that the McLaren could definitely suit this circuit, knowing that it's kind of tight nature and we really need some downforce. Denzel Adjis from Project Aversio sitting very comfortably there on the 3rd row of the grid. He's got Bush just in front of him here in the brand new Aston. I think it's the original version. I think this the base Aston Martin. Of course, if you are a GT fan, you would know there is an Evo version that's come this year, being used by many teams, such as, you know, the likes of ComTU, been using it at Walkenhorst in the GT World Challenge, and a couple more teams as well. But it's been fantastic to see. But unfortunately, this time around, where Assetto Corsa Competizione live, they'll be using the kind of base version. But hopefully, we do get an update to that very, very soon. Meanwhile, 3 minutes left in the session. Here's Daryl Martinelli.
keeping a firm eye on Mark D'Agostino at the moment in the other McLaren. He's the second place rookie driver out there at the moment in P6, looking valiant indeed, actually, is the man of the moment. I'm also keeping a very firm eye as well, if you don't mind, on Sean Cassar, who's just gone to P2, by the way. He's absolutely flying out there at the moment in the McLaren, so he's going to be one to keep a very firm eye on, because Ryan Carabot will be looking behind him at the moment in terms of pace. And of course the Ford Mustang, as I said, it is a cracking GT car, but the McLarens are particularly poignant on circuits where there is not that much camber, and being on the old circuit of Zandvoort means that actually is only going to fall to the advantage of the McLaren GT3s.
It will do, and it will be interesting to see how it kind of goes in a race-long kind of scenario. This was kind of more for the sprint, because of course we do have that 20-minute qualifying, which we did miss half, so apologies on that behalf. But we have a 45-minute race coming up very, very shortly. So, of course, stay tuned for that, and that is kind of just shy of the Fanatec. Not sponsored by Fanatec World. The GT1 Challenge, as you may know, that they have 1 hour races in their sprint championship. So it's kind of replicating that in a way, but just a little bit shorter. Of 45 minutes, so should be a superb one. Dominic Engel climbing up towards Skyflak in his chrome green Lamborghini, and the purple as well, just kind of being the highlights of. And for being like the sole Lamborghini, P9 isn't too bad. A lot of aerodynamics on that car, and being a professional, he should be up quite highly, it seems like, in the standings.
Ice is the other Lizard driver as well in the other Ford Mustang. That's the number 83, currently in P8 at the moment. So he's, again, probably the highlight of all of the liveries of this particular championship with the purple wheels. Look at that. Some absolute cracker, isn't it? As he's just approaching now the final couple of corners here at the circuit Zandvoort. Be interesting to see, is he getting out of the way? He is. He's getting out of the way of Ryan Carabot, if you don't mind, Mr. Director. It'd be interesting to see how the number 1 driver at the moment, number 13 Ford Mustang in the Project Aversio Ford Mustang. Here he comes then across towards the start finishing line. Then right now we'll be hoping to see some kind of improvement for him as he comes across the line right now. And no, it is not an improvement, but he has got one more attempt to try and set a lap and possibly put a little bit of a gap between him and Sean Cassar. Be interested to see where Cassar is at the moment actually on circuit, because he's coming up to the start finishing line right now. Last lap was an improvement once again, a 34.480, but for him, not beating Ryan Carabot at the moment, but it is dangerously close between the two.
It is indeed, and we see the checker flag is now flying. So our drivers are now going to be completing their final run here. Ryan Carabot will be looking to see if he can potentially just etch into those 134s, unless he decides to back off this time around. He's one of 3 Fords in the standings. 2 of them being pros, as we know that they are Ryan Carabot and Nick Ice. What about Sean Cassar? Well, he's going rally crossing, it seems like, unfortunately, for him. So he will go no further than second place. Adrian Manduka makes it through Skyflak unharmed, and he will look to try and just wiggle his way through this last and through the middle sector for then finishing off his lap. But that top 3 is looking pretty close, don't you agree, James?
Yes, looking dangerously close actually as well. Manduka last lap was a 34.8, his fastest is a 34.5, so he's only a 10th down on Sean Cassar. And obviously with Cassar going wide, this is an opportunity for the Project Aversio McLaren to potentially put a little bit of distance between him and the other McLaren. Ryan Carabot, I believe, is just approaching the start finishing line right now. In fact, he just enters the pit lane, so he's done. His fastest lap was a 34.2, so it'll be interesting to see where Manduka is going to be if we could go to P3 to see how this McLaren is going to look. Remember, he needs to find around about 0.3 of a second if he wants to put him anywhere near pole. Will he be able to beat Cassar, though, as he comes across the line? He certainly will, and he manages to find just a little bit over 0.5 tenth, which allows him to go in front of Cassar, but he just is a 10.5 down on Carabot. Great effort from Adrian Manduka. He goes P2. Carabot, though, is on pole for this one. Other laps still coming in as well. I think we've got, that's a checkered flag waving out there for Nick Ice in the other Lizard team Ford Mustang. Other laps should just be about finishing now, but I have a sneaky suspicion that this is probably going to be the grid for this race ahead of us. Ryan Carabot leading the way from Adrian Manduka. Kassar in the end can only be in P3. He'll be disappointed that he couldn't push the car to the absolute limit. And then the fastest rookie of anyone, it's a cracking P4 from Diemich Gershi, who manages to go P4 in the other McLaren. Second place in the rookies, by the way, for D'Agostino. It's a great effort from him as well. That's the end of qualifying. Real mixed bag, but Ryan Carabot showing he's got the pace.
He does, and we've known he's a really strong driver from his single seaters. We know that he's definitely out for kind of, well, not a revenge, but a bit of attrition, because of course he did really well last season, missed only one round, and I believe came fourth in the end of that. Yeah, fourth with 103 points. So looking to try and challenge for a title, especially with Sheldon Muscat being away for the season. I definitely think that he has that big opportunity to go and probably take it. But remember, it's only qualifying for the first round of the championship, so anything can change throughout the course of the 8-round season.
Yes, that's the critical one, isn't it? So what's the plan of action then? So we have a opportunity potentially for a great race ahead of us, because with Ryan Carabot, the challenger of this one, is getting dangerously close in a battle with Adrian Manduka, who, remember, finished second in the championship last time out. So that could be one to watch.
Yeah, I think that for a lot of these drivers, they've got that opportunity. It's just trying to extract time out of a GT3 car, and you know how difficult that can be, especially if some drivers out there like Denzel Adjus, we spoke about, isn't a type of qualified driver. I definitely think that he will be somebody up there, maybe in the races we've seen in the Asphalt Kings Championship, how good he can be. So I think it's just looking at this grid in early days and just thinking, what previous experience do they have, and how can they potentially perform.
That's the critical one, isn't it? I think we're going to be heading over to an ad break in just a moment, because we are obviously ready and raring to go for what will be no doubt a very, very intense first race in this new season of the ACER Malta GT3 Championship. We'll be back in just a few short moments. Don't go away. Welcome back then to this, the GT3 Championship. This is the ACER Malta GT3 Championship, as everyone's getting very, very excited and ready and raring to go here, Adam. I think we just caught a little snippet, actually, of how intense it's getting out here now, because the drivers are now getting themselves ready for the race, which suggested it was going to be a bit of an intense one. We are now here with everyone now after the formation lap for this rolling start of this race. Ryan Karabot will be leading the way from Adrian Manduka, from Sean Kassar, and then Dimic Gershi in fourth place as the lead rookie. They're coming across now the final corner and onto that main straight, and here we will be going. Of course, when those green lights go out, the drivers will be ready and raring to go. They'll put their foot flat to the floor for what will be an intense race ahead of us here at the circuit Zandvoort. The green light will begin to show right now. Let's go racing here in Zandvoort in the Netherlands, and Karabot is just trying his hardest here to defend here from a position here from Adrian Manduka. Actually, he's under a little bit of pressure here from Sean Kassar, who's down the inside line going through its turn one, and actually Adrian Manduka on the back foot a little bit here in the Ferrari. Here he comes then going down the main down into the right-hander. You'll want to keep it nice and cool, nice and easy. That wasn't cool and easy from Manduka, but it's worked, and he's kept in front of Kassar.
Drive-through penalty there for Denzel Adjus as well. I think may have just jumped the start slightly as the cars pulled away from the start line. That was a very lucky approach there for Adrian Manduka. He was just able to cling on after getting that little tap from Kassar, and now he will start to try and sprint away and on toward the back of Ryan Karabot. And already we're starting to see Sean Kassar looking for that gap in that McLaren, that very aerodynamic turbocharged car. So it will be intriguing to see how this goes in terms of a race. There is no mandatory stops either compared to last season, so it'll be a full chat push to the end, and no kind of field to talk about, and no pit stops to talk about either. So it's just full chat all the way to the end.
Yes, this is it, isn't it now? So they say that it's a marathon, not a sprint, but with the elements of these tyres and how they have to manage their tyres now, that is very much a factor over the next 45 minutes of this race as they finish the first lap. Karabot already getting a real start here, as it looks like Adjus is serving his drive-through penalty early on. Got Sean Kassar trying to get into the wing mirrors of Adrian Manduka in P2, but no such look from the Iceman, who looks just to maintain that solid P2. He'd be hoping that he potentially could put a little bit of pressure on Karabot, because of course he is fighting for that championship with Sheldon Muscat not taking part in this championship. Opportunity knocks for the man in P2. Here it is, Nick Ice at Team Lizard looking fairly sharp himself. There's Manduka once again looking to try and put that pressure on Karabot, but as it stands so far, Karabot having a really good first part of this race.
Is indeed, and it's looking very strong, of course, but it's only the first lap of this race that we are getting from our leader right here. So we now see Adrian Manduka twisting his way through some of these corners, looking back further in the field. I wonder if there's been many changes. Look at Daryl Martinelli there in fifth. He's starting to maybe make some improvements, especially with how he was not one of the fastest drivers. He had a best finish of fifth right at the end of the last season when the field took to Imola for the last round of the championship. So already, if he stayed in this position, he would be beating that in his Ferrari 296 GT3, just staying ahead there of Nick Ice. But will that Ferrari be able to cling on, because he's already losing touch here to Dimic Gershi. So it will be a tough ask for Daryl Martinelli, but of course really strong stuff so far.
Would like to head down, if you don't mind, to P15, and more specifically Gabriel Cocciamani. He's on the back at the moment of Ericsson in the BMW. So the number 95 livery of 444, but the Lightning McQueen-inspired livery, looking to potentially make a move going through into turn number 1. I thought he was looking a bit close, and he certainly gets that move done. The BMW not looking good on the straights, and Cocciamani managing to promote himself now up to P14.
He's had a few batters there at both the front and the rear, so I wonder if he's been involved in a little bit of a collision, because look at the rear end there, just completely bashed in, and that front as well. I don't think that's going to be gravel either, so in a position where he's quite confined right at the back, it's going to be a bit of a task to try and shove his way through, but he has managed to put himself into a decent position so far, and just going to try and catch up here to Barbara, who is now sitting in 13th in that 720 McLaren.
Very resemblant, if you don't mind, of the Cars 3 trailer where we saw good old Lightning McQueen spinning around on the circuit as he was trying to fight for the Piston Cup, I believe. But he's making the move pretty simpler here against Barbara, because it looks like Sam and Barbara really struggling in that McLaren at the moment. And despite the crash look of that Ferrari, actually making some decent moves at the moment is Gabriel Cocciamani, and he's now up to P13. So he is making some serious inroads in that midfield at the moment. He's now tries to chase down Zimmerman, David Zimmerman in the Lamborghini. He is Dominic Zimmerman, rather, sorry, in the other Lizard Racing Team liveried Lamborghini, looking fairly sharp indeed. Back towards the front then, though, we do have that little battle. Adrian Manduka and Karabot obviously trying his hardest to close down the gap, and the two of them are just starting to pull away from Kassar a little bit at the moment, but Karabot certainly making a decent effort at the moment. Here is Sean Kassar actually just coming across the double right-hander now. How is he looking in comparison to Adrian Manduka? Not particularly great, if I'm perfectly honest with you. Looking like Manduka and Karabot just beginning to pull away a little bit from the rest of the field as the pit window is now open.
It does look like there are going to be mandatory stops in this one, so that's going to be kind of a different story to what I thought was the case, because we have something on the usually on the rank, because it tells us that there's one stop that needs to be made. So this time we are going to have pit stops, so this will definitely change up the thought of everyone. Of course, different fuel loads, different tyres to kind of think about. I think all of these drivers are right now going to be a bit of a moment through one of those corners, but yeah, this is going to be something to really keep an eye on, especially managing the car as well as trying to push it to the absolute limits.
Yeah, I hope we don't mind just going back to that battle actually with Nick Ice. He's getting really close at the moment to the back of Martinelli here in that Ford Mustang. Known for its straight line speed, you'll hear that raw engine, that raw V8 that powers the car that Nick Ice is driving in the Lizard Racing Team liveried car, looking to try and get as close as he possibly can to Martinelli, who's looks like he's a bit more on a defensive move here, because the rookie driver in DMH Gershi at the moment, up in P4, is actually pulling a little bit away here, but he's not able to find any kind of speed to get close to Kassar. So a little bit of a no man's land for the rookie, but P4 no man's land from a rookie in the Uber McLaren, looking fairly strong.
Yeah, it seemed like he's had a little bit of experience with GT3s, but no matter what is going on with Ilan Dimek Grish, I think that the rear gets a little bit stepping out there, but he's showing really strong pace, and I think that's exactly what he kind of needs at this moment in time, to keep like a strong base and you know, nice strong pace as well. So a little bit of our feed, but when we get that back, we'll let you know.
We have lost our feed at the moment, folks, so we are going to just continue on with the live stream that we've got, which puts us a little bit further back compared to what you guys are seeing. What I'm seeing at the moment is still DMH Gershi at the moment, who's looking fairly strong, I must admit. As I said, in the Uber, I've been very impressed with his rookie, with the rookie efforts so far. Like I said, only 13 minutes in it, he's already making a serious impression, out there at the moment in that Uber McLaren, and as it stands as well, Martinelli is not really getting that close either, as he goes a little bit off there. There's the little rookie mistakes that you might expect from him at the moment, but he's still got the pace to capitalise on this one, as hopefully we can go back to Martinelli, because that battle with him and Nick Ice is looking fairly close, conceited at the moment. Actually by the looks of things, just behind us. Hopefully the race director is hearing us and will allow us to skip over back to Martinelli in P5. No, in fact, we'll go to this man, Johan Bork, in P11. Nope, there is Martinelli. As you can see, off of the track. That might invite Nick Ice, and there's the move done. And that is exactly what Nick Ice is looking for. Team Lizard just slithering their way through this particular battle, and a really, really good effort, actually, from the Team Lizard man, because he just kept that Ferrari under pressure. Sorry, the Aston Martin under pressure, and that move done and dusted, and now to P6.
Yep, strong move there, and I think that was it's unlucky there for Daryl Martinelli. I think just pushing the car a little bit too much, just not thinking about that fifth place on the line. He's always wanting more, which is exactly what you want as a racing driver, especially if you're seeing a rookie in Ilan Dimek Grish down the road. He's going to just try and push that car as much as he possibly can, and I definitely believe that with the experience that he has, I think he just kind of overset the mark, and you really can't do something like that around a place like Zandvoort. You've really got to keep it within the limits, but kind of flirt with them. I think that's the best way you have to put it, is flirt with the track limits, flirt with the limitations of the circuit. That's kind of the way you go fast around this one. If you're not flirting with those limits, you're staying right towards the center of the asphalt, you're not going to go anywhere fast.
Pro-Am driver Johan Borg getting into a little bit of a scrap because of this one. No, going off there side by side through there, and that move done and dusted here as Robin Barwen in the WRT BMW not looking strong. Here is Gatt around the outside. They bang again side by side through there, and Chris Gatt making it extremely known that the Accelerate McLaren is accelerating right past that BMW right there, looking like they were getting all feisty around there. I was keeping an eye out on Johan Borg, as I said, in the Pro-Am driver getting close to Elul, but it looks like that actually they were, all four of them were in close proximity, but now it's become a twosome, 2 by 2 by 2. Here comes a move as well from Denzel Adjius. Remember, had to serve his drive-through penalty early on down the inside line of D'Agostino, and then he will have this move. They still continue side by side, but surely the McLaren is going to have this one done and dusted. Back in that battle with Denzel Adjius, please, Mr. Director. Let's focus on this racing because it's so intense around the outside. They will continue to go, but there, a great defensive effort from the rookie of D'Agostino. No move necessary. Will Mark D'Agostino say here, is it just going to go for the move? No, he's thinking best of it. He's going to line himself up potentially for a move going into turn one. Very well crafted from the rookie.
Yeah, really good stuff there from him, and D'Agostino will look again to try and get on that inside line, but Johan Borg just says no on that one. But again, now looking to the inside, goes the McLaren, and he will just try and find whatever he possibly can. Denzel Adjius also looking in the back there, and it will be a side-by-side moment between the two McLarens, and Adjius will just sneak on by. Good stuff there from the Project Aversio driver as he tries to get to grips with his McLaren 720S GT3, and we are seriously seeing some fantastic racing all the way throughout the field.
Oh, Denzel Adjius, it's a cracking move around the outside, but D'Agostino wants to do exactly the same thing around the outside, but the grip is just simply not there, nor is the racing line. But I'll tell you what, Denzel Adjius, what a fabulous move that was. He had the toe of the Aston Martin of Johan Borg in front of him, which was just absolutely fabulous for him, because it allowed him to have that lovely toe all the way through to turn one. And in the end, it was a fabulous move around the outside of that particular corner. It's not the first time we've seen moves around the outside. We saw that only a few days ago. Here's a move down the inside, though. Denzel Adjius tried to get the move done on Johan Borg in the Aston Martin, and he has got some serious inroads to make, of course, after having to serve that drive-through penalty. And Adjius is making a statement. He's now up to P11.
He is, and now he's going to try and see if he can just hold off this kind of group of cars, because it looks like Ilal is a little bit too far ahead in order to maybe think about doing for an overtake. But there goes Adjius up the inside of Ilal, and that's a little bit of a bash there to the Ferrari, and it seemed like he's just managed to get on through, and I didn't really expect that overtake, but Yeah, I think I was just thinking about maybe Chris Gatt, who's a couple of seconds up the road, but that was a pretty rash overtake in all honesty. But he did make the move, but it's kind of classic GT3 racing, getting the elbows out.
Kind of racing you see actually in Formula racing and open wheel racing, as we've got moves happening with Elul and looks like Johan Borg getting into a scrap as well down in P12 here. It looks like that move is now done and dusted because Gabriel Cocciamani is now welcoming himself into this battle. Can you believe us? We thought at one point he would be a little bit of a threat in the midfield. He's certainly looking like he's looking for it at the moment. He's the experienced man in that Ferrari, in that Lightning McQueen inspired Ferrari. Now they all carry on in formation as Denzel Agius looks to try and close down on Chris Gatt in P9. It's a bit of a heroic race here now for Agius after making that mistake, but the gap is quite significant between him and Chris Gatt at the moment. Going back towards the front, if we don't mind, though, Adrian Manduka, as we continue on with that little battle, look at the gap that's started to form already between him and Karabot. Karabot is having the race of his life at the moment in that Ford Mustang, and it will be a question of, what will be for Adrian Manduka in the GT Cup. He had the Mustang and he looks so fast in the Ferrari. Karabot is using that Mustang to his advantage.
He is indeed, and I think the Ford Mustang has been a great addition to Assetto Corsa Competizione. A lot of drivers have been using it, and it's been absolutely fantastic to see. I definitely can see, it being more of an open choice of car. You see it a lot in iRacing, especially when that was introduced. A lot of drivers just jumped at the opportunity to use it. It was only used by John Agius last season, but now you're seeing 3 drivers using this car, and it's been absolutely fantastic to see. And honestly, I've been impressed with kind of the way it's kind of been growing. I hope they can also evolve in real life as well and just improve their results. We now look to Dominic Zimmerman all the way down in 18th. It would be great if we could get an idea on who's. That's Adrian, who's gone straight on there at the chicane. Gabriel Quattromani tries to hold off, looks like Ilal in their little battle for 13th and 14th.
Not sure about the directing choices there. I'd love to see what happened with Adrian down in P19, but apparently off the track he went, and that is the end of that one at the moment as he tries to chase down Dominic Zimmerman down in P18. Here is Gabriel Cocciamani again in that very ruined-looking Ferrari. He's obviously had some sort of rough and tumbles, as you pointed out earlier on in this one, but I have a sneaking suspicion, Adam, that the car seems to be fine. Doesn't look like to have any issues at all, because he is racing really well in that midfield at the moment, is Gabriel Cocciamani. He'll be hoping that he can get past or get at least closer to the Pro-Am of Johan Borg.
So we now look towards that less than half an hour into this race, and it's been quite a tame race, to be honest. Of course, Zandvoort not very well known for its overtaking, but some of our GT3s have made it very much possible. You see here Johan Borg just trying to fight the car there through the penultimate corner and on towards the main straight. You see it must be so strange for maybe new GT fans or people or fans that have just been seeing this circuit and absolutely known it for its iconic banking. And let's be real, despite it only being half a decade old, it has kind of become quite a staple to the circuit. So you can definitely sense that there was when you see this kind of image, you realise that A, it's evolved massively to become grade 1, and B, that it must be an absolute strange sight, because some of the big moments in there around this circuit are just not there. Meanwhile, let's have a look at Sean Cassar, who we've locked onto with. Is he gaining here on Adrian Manduka? I'm not quite sure. He's still there. The Ferrari is still just sitting in the eye line of Sean, but is that McLaren fast enough to lock on with the Ferrari? I'm not too sure. It may require a pit stop to be able to get through or change a strategy. So our top 3 looking comfortable with Ilan Dimek Grish still sitting there 4th, ahead of Ison Martinelli.
Lull has entered the pit lane, by the way, in the last couple of minutes as you were talking here, Adam. So that is the first person who's actually pitted under the pit window. So you'll get your confirmation of whether there is a mandatory pit stop in this one, because of course on the right you'll see that P will become green. If it doesn't and it stays grey, then that is an indication that pit stops weren't needed. So we'll see when he leaves the pit lane what that looks like, and he comes out and it stays grey. So it doesn't look like you need to commit to the pit stop. Lull had to commit to the pit stop to get off of the tyres and refuel in that car. Karabot though now just getting to the back here of sorry, but that wasn't Karabot, that was Kassar, wasn't it? Getting close to the back of Manduka, who is himself actually getting close to the back of some back markers here. So this could offer an opportunity here for Sean Kassar to potentially get as close as he can to Manduka, maybe even launch an overtake whilst he's got that back marker in the way.
You can definitely kind of play the back marker card and try and get them involved. It's definitely an opportunity, and it will be quite smart play. It looks like somebody's entered the pits. That's going to be Camilleri, who has entered the pit lane. So I don't know if that's kind of an early stop to get his one out of the way, or if that's if that's kind of just to maybe retire the car. I'm not entirely sure on that part, but from what I feel like we can confirm that these three are still in kind of contention here, and it's going to be Dominic Zimmerman in this one. So the Lamborghini is going to have to get out of the way pretty quickly very soon.
Well, there's no blue flags in this, although in fact I say that, the blue flag is just waving, so actually there is blue flags by the looks of things for the drivers. So is Zimmerman going to get out of the way? It's the fourth marshal post has just gone by now with the blue flag waving. So is there a mandated blue flag? There's the indicator to say I'm pulling to your right, I'll stay out of your way, and Manduka does get past. Now will Zimmerman make this easier as well for Kassar as they're now approaching the left hand of this large hairpin? Doesn't look like he's getting out of the way initially, but we should see the indicator coming on imminently, I would suspect, so then Sean Kassar can get the move done. But of course with every corner that Zimmerman is in the way, Manduka is pulling away, and as you can see is allowed through at the end of that straight, and Manduka and Kassar will carry on their merry way as the Lamborghini down in P16, that's Dominic Zimmerman, will continue on their way. While this is all happening, by the way, we have lost another driver. We have lost someone who has just left in the pit lane. In fact, it is Camilleri. He has received, by the looks of things, a big stop and go 30-second penalty, and then he left the session. So that is the end of his race, and we're down to 18.
We are indeed. That's a bit of a shame there. So it does seem like that was a retirement there for him. But, as we now watch Manduka still try and hustle that car. I think that's the Aston Martin of Johan Borg. Sorry, that's Barbara being overtaken. So we'll have to see if that kind of affects Karabot's lead at all, if maybe he got stuck up towards Sky Flak. It doesn't seem like it. Yeah, that McLaren is going to have to try and pull over to the side. And in GTs, it does mean that blue flags do mean there is a fast car behind you. You don't have to let, but it would be advisable to do so. So of course, you can maybe do a little bit of a cheeky block, but it would kind of be frowned upon in the gentlemanly agreement in GT racing.
Yeah, of course, it's a gentleman's agreement, unlike in open wheel racing. If you are coming to us from the open wheel racing, the blue flag, not necessarily mandated as if you don't get it done quickly, you'll be penalised, but it's certainly a more of a gentleman's agreement within GT cars. Here's Gabriel Cotramani just coming now across the complex of turn 3 up the hill through 4, 5, 6, and then of course that right-hander of 7. He is in P13 as we've got more people pitting as well. We've got 3 people currently in the pits at the moment. Ericsson is in the pits. He's in the pits alongside Barr in P9, obviously down now to P13 as a result. He's just leaving his pit lane now is Robin Barwen. So he'll be looking to try and get sort of the motions rolling now. He's got a fresh set of tyres on and down at the back. Adrian also pitting as well. He struggled in that first stint. See if he can at least get some good laps in as we're now following Dominic Zimmerman up in P15.
Here we are, and of course Zimmerman not had one of the best races. We'll have to see how we can kind of overcome this So there's still 7 more rounds after this one over the course of these last, of course, with the calendar we do have. Of course, they really do have a huge mix as well. A couple of F1. A couple of F1 stacks in there as well, and Adrian Manduka is in. Thank you for pointing that out, because that's going to be crucial when it does come to the results of Karabot and Kassar. I think this is maybe Manduka just seeing what Kassar is doing here and just saying, I need to cover this off here, because otherwise I'm going to be in a bit of trouble if I don't.
So the mandatory pit stop is not in this particular championship, as you can see by the lack of a green for people leaving the pit lane. But people have elected to go for the softer compound of tyre and, of course, a lower fuel, which is going to allow people to potentially commit to undercuts if they want to. One of those people being Adrian Manduka in the Ferrari. Now, with the fresh tyres and a fresh fuel, he will now power his way around the circuit in the hope that maybe he could get the jump on Karabot later down the line. We will see as he chucks the car through the right-hander of the next couple of corners. We'll see if the Ferrari does manage to get the jump on Kassar and Karabot, who have both now entered the pace.
That undercut, as you say, is going to be hugely crucial. One of the Aston Martins is into pit lane as well. But you can see that Ford Mustang of Karabot going into the pit lane, and I just think that his pace has been so strong he should just emerge ahead of Manduka. But we can get a bit of a sign where could our third place runner of Kassar end up. Well, Kassar, my apologies, is actually in here. He's already in the pit lane here, so it's down to Ilan Dimek-Grish to take control of the lead, but he almost loses it there through Sky Black trying to lap Barbara, and yeah, that's not one of the nice things to have on your debut race.
I wonder if he's just happy to have a bit of a loose rear end, you know, actually, Adam. He's looking like he's someone who prefers a very pointy car on the front end, and very Max Verstappen-esque, actually, as well. He has his Formula 1 car and GT car set up in that way as well. So the rookie now leading the way. Now the question is he on a harder compounder tyre? Is he hoping to no-stop this one, or is he going to try and power on to potentially get a decent overcut, maybe, on the likes of, I'm thinking, Sean Kassar, I'm thinking, you know, potentially Agius as well, of course, who's still yet to make his pit stop after serving his drive-through penalty. Just coming around the final corner, little touch on the gravel, but happy nonetheless. Here is Dimich Gerke. Here he comes then in this one, and a full clarification on this one as well. Adam's just letting me know on this one as well. I'll give you credit for this one. It looks like mandatory stop is in this particular championship. We've been frightfully ruined, maybe, by the graphics who say there is no mandatory pit stop, but in other people's streams it looks like it does exist, so maybe another little classic ACC bug.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit frustrating, because now we're going to have to switch between one of our driver streams and our live feed to try and figure out who's made a pit stop and who hasn't. But we know that somebody has made a pit stop, and his name is Ryan Karabot, because he's now up to 4th place on the road, but he is now currently leading the way in the race there. And also Kassar is ahead of Manduka. That McLaren has in fact jumped to the Ferrari, and that's exactly what Sean Kassar was looking at. He was trying to build the speed, trying to build the pace, get the lap time as small as he possibly could, and that was the result in a fantastic overcut, it seemed like, there on the Ferrari. It's always been a thing in the F1 franchise that undercut is always the way to go, but if you know that you have confidence in your pace, then definitely the overcut can work. It just depends if it all works out for you.
Absolutely fabulous as well from Kassar for that overcut to work, an absolute treat. Undercut not really known for being that powerful while this is all happening. Barbara, by the way, left his pit box too early apparently, because he's now got a 30-second stop and go penalty. Has the man in the McLaren down in P17 as he's losing time hand over fist is the Pro-Am driver. He will now have to serve that one before the end of this race, of which 17.5 minutes to go in this one, and early indications are suggesting suggesting, as Martinelli just is now entering the pit lane, that, well, Karabot is looking mighty fast out there. Fastest lap so far, in front of Kassar, in front of Manduka, and while this is all happening, of course, we've got those that are just now making late pit stops. Agius, Martinelli in the pits, as I said, but Diemich Gershi at the moment, or Demich Gershi, however you pronounce his name, you're better than me on this one, Adam, still leading the way at the moment out of those in the rookies. He's going a long way in this first stint, 17 minutes to go.
Indeed he is, and I just think that maybe it's kind of just track time and kind of really just getting an idea of what he can do. I think that also whilst he's doing this, he's also getting a little bit of momentum as well, and it's also meaning that he's going to be in the pits maybe a little bit longer in terms of getting in terms of his fuel as well, so it will definitely be something to keep an eye out for. But as long as he can maybe finish in the top 5, that would be an absolute master class from our rookie, the one of 2 rookies in the top 14 or top 10. Either one is completely fine, but will he come into the pits this lap? He does, with 16 minutes to go left on the clock, 11 minutes for the pit window to shut. In comes Ilan Dimek, and we'll be very intrigued to see. Meanwhile, Ryan Carroll will continue to pump in the laps and lead at a strong margin.
Well, there we are then. So with the rookie now diving into the pit lane, we should expect Karabot across the final corner here. And what a significant gap he's now got to Sean Kassar and Adrian Manduka, who are now pretty much going to be battling it out for that second spot. There they are in the background, but that significant margin for Karabot means that he still needs to keep his racing clean, of course, because one spin out, and of course he is well off of the pace in comparison to those behind him. So they're just happy to maintain his own pace. Just maintain now this race now for the next 15 or so minutes for the Project Aversio Ford Mustang. So that is then, though. This is now, as it stands, Karabot leading the way, Kassar in second for Manduka. You've got Nick Ice, by the way, in the Lizard Ford Mustang. He's the one that's going to be battling with Dimich, and in that situation gets around the outside. And as it stands, Nick Ice now up to P4 for Team Lizard. Great effort from the Mustang.
Yeah, exactly that. But I do wonder if Ivan, or should I say Ilan, my apologies on that one, the McLaren will try and sweep back on the 3, because he's had to make the pit stop recently, the fresh tyres, I believe, as well. So could he kind of just find that gap? We know how aggressive our rookie driver can be, and maybe make it a misjudgment or 2. So we'll be down to kind of Dimek Grish to try and see if he can just push that Ford Mustang into a bit of a mistake, try and get him driving in the rear view mirror, or the wing mirrors he's got on the side of the car. But that McLaren again does look like it has pace, but I think like Nick Ice will for sure be inspired by the running of Ryan Karabot, who still maintained the fastest lap of the race around here at Zandvoort. And we're seeing, I think, a lot of strong drives, especially in the first race of the season. A lot of eye-catching drivers as well, and of course a lot of them are going to be building their confidence all throughout this season.
Eye-catching drivers, eye-catching liveries here at the ACER Malta GT3 Championship, brought to you by Velocity Esports Racing. Karabot leading the way then from Kassar from Manduka. While this is all happening, Barbara has just left the pit lane after serving his 30-second stop-and-go penalty. So he will now navigate his way around the circuit right at the foot of the table, but not so far off that he's down in last place, because Adrian has had a race to forget in this particular race. The rookie driver really struggling out there at the moment. So the leading rookie driver, though, leading amateur driver, if you will, is Dimitri Gershi. And I tell you what a fabulous race it has actually been from that McLaren, as he continues to put pressure on Nick Ice and hope that he could get P4.
I think Nick Ice will definitely be looking in his wing mirrors for now. I think he's just got to try and maintain and use the width on the Zandvoort circuit. You know, it's not that wide, is the circuit. Very narrow in some places. They head their way to and 8 and in towards turn number 9. Yeah, I think Nick Ice is, he's not having to do any defensive shapes, but that rear stepping out means definitely Dimek Grish will now try and see if he can get on the back. He's sitting in the slipstream, but will he be able to go down the inside at the chicane? He decides not to at the very last second. Otherwise, that could have been all sorts of tears running down the eyes of the drivers.
Ilan Dimech Grish, we'll get the name right. I'm not really good with these names, I'll be honest with you. I'll get it right eventually, Adam. You're better than me, as I said at this one. Really getting up close and personal with Nick Ice there, and actually trying to get in the wing mirrors of that Ford Mustang, try and force an error out of Ice. But Ice, the Iceman himself, not phased at all by the late-breaking efforts of Dimech Grish, so he will now maintain that position in P5 in the hope that he could potentially get P4. And you know what? What an effort it will be from this first race. So the rest of this championship coming up, he'll be hoping that there's a potential chance that a podium might be on the cards here for the rookie driver. And what an effort that would be for the Uber McLaren. Well, this is all saying, by the way, this is going to sound extremely familiar for those taking part in or watching the Velocity Esports productions in GT cars. Jamie Smith in P6 is having a bit of a race on his own out there, and that is something that is particularly familiar for the over 40 club Aston Martin. Not usually one that gets involved in the racing, but enough of a pace that he could just find himself in a bit of no man's land and take some good points. Behind him, Martinelli trying to close down, but the number 1 over 40s Aston Martin in his own place in P6. Martinelli trying to close him down, as I said, in the Ferrari.
Yeah, I wonder if Daryl Martinelli will use a little bit of his previous year experience to try and lock horns with that Aston Martin. It's been great seeing the Astons out there. We've also kind of expanded the manufacturers list as well. It's been brilliant. Yeah, whilst Bentley has been taken out, we've had Ferrari, McLaren, Ford and BMW remain here. Bentley has unfortunately been removed, but it's kind of been in the place of Porsche, Aston Martin and Lamborghini. Our extension of our entry list has gone from 13 cars all of last season up to 19. So it's been great seeing the ACER Malta GT3 Championship have its extension. I'm sure that when we go into maybe a third or fourth or fifth season, it will definitely have some peak moments, I can assure you. But Nick Ice, that is the first defensive move we're seeing on camera here, and Ilan Dimek Grish will now see if he can potentially try go up the inside or slip into a gap that potentially might be there or thereabouts, but into a sky flag. That's where he's got to just put that car behind and say, right, where's the next place I can overtake it? It might be into the Hans Ernest chicane.
These drivers have pitted, by the way, but of course Dimek Grish pitted a couple of laps later, so he has got the better tyre compound as well. But arguably the better car at the moment is that Ford Mustang. It's looking so quick out there in its GT3 spec. Here's the McLaren then looking for the wider line to have the later apex, so he can potentially get on the power a little bit earlier in the corner to try and put a bit of pressure now on the Ford Mustang. We saw a little bit of a lunge down the inside to get in the wing mirrors of the Ford Mustang, but on this occasion not looking for that particular move. But the number 14 is keeping Nick Ice under pressure, and the Iceman, you'd suspect, started to crack a little bit in the sort of a few fractures maybe in the outer sculpture in front of him, because there are a few defensive moves now happening for that Mustang.
Yeah, he's definitely got to get defensive, especially with, it being about just over 8.5 minutes left of the race. You've not got a lot of time remaining left in the championship, so in the race I should say. So you've really got to make sure that car just sat behind you, frustrate Ilan, do whatever he can to maybe off-put it as well. Just making their way through that long left-hander. It does go on for quite a while, but you don't quite get the same slingshot that you do get in the modern day circuit. So Nick Ice just holding down well, but if you're Ilan Dimek Grish, will you just be happy to hold on to fifth and just think, well, I've got some fantastic points here, I've got 14 points coming to me, do I just sit back? Does he want to go for that fourth place, add 16 points to the board, and just think, have the satisfaction of making an overtake? But also, if it does go wrong, potentially you will fall down to a couple of places as well.
7.5 minutes to go then in this race, and Dimitri Grish still putting pressure on Nick Ice at the moment. It's fabulous racing between the pair of these here. This is a battle for P4, and what will be a great effort from the rookie drivers. Indeed, oh, that was it, a later breaker, and that was just not going to work for Dimitri Grish. I think he caught himself off guard. I don't think he was looking for the move. He's caught himself, and that is the rookie element of the McLaren, unfortunately. Can't get that move done. Now Nick Ice will start to speed away in the Lizard Ford Mustang. Dimitri Grish will probably need to just hold on for P5 here, assuming he hasn't got a massive amount of damage, because of course James Smith will be happy to swallow up any positions that are lost. Dimitri Grish not looking for the pit lane on this occasion, but as you can see, James Smith just now coming across the final corner. I think it's going to be a consolidation of P5 here, Adam.
Yeah, I think he's just going to have to sit with that now. You know, no point in pushing the car, just home it in to the finish line here, as Nick Ice will be kind of yeah, thinking, where did that McLaren just go? I swear that was battling with me like a couple of moments ago. I want to have a look back to this battle here with Kassar and Manduka, because that McLaren was looking pretty strong there at the end of Manduka's pit stop. Had a decent gap, but Manduka has claimed eaten up the gap here and is right behind that McLaren. Will he be able to get that Ferrari powered car on towards that second place? But they're both turbocharged cars, so it will be a bit of a difficult task. And as I say, Zandvoort, you know, not one that is known for overtaking. This one's going to be a tough one to try and deal with for Kassar.
Well, just under 6 minutes to go now in this one, as Manduka is hoping to try and mitigate the damage from the overcut committed by this Intercomp VMD McLaren, who is looking to really set that early precedent now that he is going to be one for consideration for this championship, alongside Ryan Carabot, who is now just started scarpering off into the distance himself now. That man in front of Kassar is not Carabot. That is a back marker. Carabot is there. He's actually a few corners in front. Now getting out of the way is Johan Borg in P11, the Pro-Am driver in the Aston Martin. What an effort it has been from this Ford Mustang. Super impressive indeed from Ryan Carabot. So it is going to be really a consolidation now between Sean Kassar and Manduka about who finishes where on the podium, whilst Nick Ice is going to be consolidating a pretty solid P4 for Lizard.
It's now closed.
Now you're just going to see if you can potentially try and get Chris Gatt into the mixture here, because I think there'll be more pressure here on Kassar, because he will be looking at this thinking, just get out of the way, I've got Ferrari right behind me, and that's exactly what Chris Gatt has done, kind of putting some gravel in the under tray of that McLaren. But meanwhile, his manufacturer teammate is going to be going through with a good amount of clear air with 4.5 minutes left to go of this one. Manduka will be trying to grab that slipstream, but Johan Borg will be dragging the McLaren just that little bit as well, and Manduka into the braking zone of Tarzan will just not be quite there, but he'll be knowing that there's some space. They'll be knowing that there's some big second place points on the board here, and if Ryan Carabot is a driver to be feared in this championship, he's got to go after it. It's kind of a do or die here for Manduka.
And Johan Borg, by the way, getting straight out of the way of those two drivers. He wants no part in that battle at the moment with the guys in the podium. As this is all happening, by the way, Dimitri Grish at the moment, let's be honest here, yeah, he's had a bit of a spin, but he's now pushing a little bit, and he is closing down slightly on Nick Ice here. The last 3 and a bit minutes to go. You suspect now the rookie driver saying, I've got nothing to lose here, I might as well just have a go. But 5th place is a great effort from a rookie driver. So is he pushing? Is it just the racer's spirit to just keep going even after that horrible spin out he had after colliding into the back of Nick Ice? At the moment, that Uber McLaren is looking extremely sharp, and maybe, just maybe, he's trying to put a bit of a last-ditch attempt here and still trying to get P4 despite the spin out. Look, there is Nick Ice. He is getting close here now.
He is indeed, and I think Nick Ice is, I think he's going to be solidified with that 4th place. But as Kasar and Manduka decide to be embroiled in a big old tussle, I think he definitely wants to take it. But that rear it does seem to be stepping out a little bit. But I think fourth place is the best thing he can get. That's Gabriel Quattromani in front of him as well. So it does seem like for now, Nick Ice is going to get a slaughtering amount of points with 2.5 minutes remaining.
2.5 minutes, as you said, rightfully left now, as Nick Ice is getting a nice little tow from Gabriel Quattromani. Flash of the headlights to say, get out of my way, please. But he'll definitely get a nice tow from that Ferrari, and we'll see if he does get out of the way. There's the blue flags indicating what he needs to do. Going through to turn 1, gentleman's handshake, and absolutely no issue whatsoever for the Rusty's Ferrari, as he is now holding on to a battle with P13. He's actually 16 seconds in front of a lull at the moment, so no pressure whatsoever from Gabriel Quattromani as it stands here. So your leaders, as I said, right at the front is Ryan Karabot from Kasar, from Manduka. You've got Nick Ice, and then you've got the rookie driver of Dimitri Gershi now in P5. He's now hoping he can get as close as he possibly can to Nick Ice with this last 90 seconds of this race. But I think, despite the fact, yes, he is getting closer and he is pushing really hard, I think that half spin out probably cost him any chance of P4 here.
It is, and we'll see if how this is all going to pan out. But one man that's been absolutely at the top of all of this has been Ryan Karabot. It must have been such a quiet race, that Ford Mustang, because he's been pretty much there or thereabouts. He's been in touch with the field, but after about 5 minutes, he blasted off into the distance, and he's now leading the race. That number 13 is going to be in absolute heaven sent, but in less than a minute's time. And meanwhile, as Nick Ice continues to push the limits of this car, I think and Dimek Girish is closing up, but then he gets within about half a second, and it kind of just the attack just kind of deflates there. It just kind of goes a bit flat just because he cannot find a way through. Dirty air does exist in these GT cars, but it's not as strong as single seaters.
Final lap of this race then, folks, because of course when that checkered flag comes out, that will be the end of this race the moment they cross the start finishing line. No +1 lap here in ACC, so Karabot will be pretty close, actually, if my math works out right, to the end of this race, because he is now just coming across the final couple of corners as he's entering into the stadium section. He has had a very, very clean race indeed, and so happy will Project Aversio here, because with their man winning this race when he comes across the start finishing line, he will be met with Adrian Manduka for a double podium for the Maltese outfit. As he comes across now the start finishing line, he will come across the line to take the checkered flag here and win the first race here at the ACER Malta GT3 Championship. And what a fabulous race it has been from Karabot. Kasar and Manduka are battling hard here for second and third place, but they will come across the line and finish in their respective positions. Nick Ice is finishing across in P4, but he is getting detrimentally close here to a battle with Dimitri Gershi. This race is still not over, can you believe it? Coming across the final couple of corners, Ice will give a lovely tow to the McLaren, but has the McLaren got the pace? Has he had the grip to potentially battle back and take this P4 out of the hands of Nick Ice? And Lizard will be hoping that they could potentially take this P4, but they will go side by side over the line, and in the end Dimitri Gershi will have to just concede that P5 was only the maximum he could get. What a fabulous race it was between them as well. James Smith comes across the line in P6 in the end from Des Alagius, who had a really valiant effort with the drive-through penalty after skipping the race start. He'll finish in P7, and here is D'Agostino as well. This is the second of the rookie drivers. A valiant effort indeed from him. He will be happy with a valiant effort as well in that McLaren as he comes across the start finishing line, and he will finish in a very respectable P8. You've got Baron in P9. It's a great effort from Robin Bowen as well in the WRT BMW, and then in the end it is Dominic Zimmerman at one point in the depths at the back will finish in P10. What an effort from him.
Amazing for a lot of these drivers. Unfortunately, we did lose two along the way. Camilleri was one of them, and I believe Dario Martinelli was the other. But a fantastic start there to this ACER Malta GT3 campaign, and it was Ryan Carabot, the single-seater maestro, that's come out on top on this one. Because will Manduca be dissatisfied with a P3? Most probably.
Most probably indeed as well. I'm just taking a quick look actually at the points here from Ryan Carabot last time out as well. I don't believe at any point last season he actually was leading a championship, so this is the first time in this particular championship of the ACER Malta GT3 championship that Ryan Carabot will go into it as the championship leader. What a fabulous effort it has been indeed from the Ford Mustang, and as I said, a great effort from Project Aversio as well. It's a double podium from them, first and third. Intercomp splitting them with Sean Cassar in P2. A great effort indeed from them. Towards the back, of course, Johan Borg a lap down behind him, Chris Gatt by about 3 seconds. A great effort from him. Gabriel Quattromani was in a bit of a no man's land in the end. 23 seconds back from Chris Gatt and 40 seconds in front of Elul, who finishes in P14 and in the grass. You got Ericsson in 15th and Barbara 16th. Adrian finishing 4 laps down in 17th, and of course your two DNFers, Martinelli retiring out with 7 laps ago, and 17 laps ago, about 3/4 of the way, Camilleri decided in the end that this race wasn't for him. That is the end of this particular race. What are the learnings to take from this one then, Adam? Well, Carabot leading the way from Sean Cassar and from Adrian Manduca suggests that nothing changes from the previous season. It's all going to be about those particular drivers, but drivers that finished 4th or 5th in the standings shout at the title now.
I definitely think we're seeing that kind of top 3 of Cassar, Carabot and Manduca. It's all about consistency in the championship, and Sheldon Muscat really proved it last season. That one little step up like Manduca finishing 4th at Monza, that only time he was off the podium, and look at that, he was right back and had a very hard task when it came to Imola. So you're definitely gonna have to keep consistent in this championship. I think Manduca will be a little bit miffed that he didn't get past Cassar and really did struggle at Zandvoort, but I think he'll double down when we go to the next round of the championship. I'm sure we'll bring up the calendar at some point, so of course, director, let us just bring up the calendar whenever, and there it is. We start, as you know, Zandvoort. We then go to the Red Bull Ring, Spielberg, for the second round of the championship, completely different to Zandvoort. Then we head to Paul Ricard, of course known for its sunset tonight season opener of the GT World Challenge Endurance Championship. Then we head over to Spain for a double header of the Circuit Ricardo Tormo ahead of Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. 2 fantastic circuits. And then we head over to the States, Laguna Seca, on November the 20th. 7 days time, we head to Watkins Glen and round off the championship at the Circuit of the Americas. A fantastic circuit calendar we've all put together. It's been brilliant to see, and it will be so interesting to hear how each of these circuits will kind of cope to the different strengths of the cars, and overall just really looking to see how interesting this championship is turning out. There's a lot of drive we can give a shout out to over the course of this race.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I'm looking at that calendar, I'm looking forward to Thursday, the 20th of November. One of my favourite circuits ever, the WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. So that should be an absolute cracker, to say the least. But we do have a few more races in between, excuse me, as we said, in 2 weeks' time. We'll be taking a trip to the Red Bull Ring, so as soon as we have arrived, we will be on another break before we take a trip over to the Styrian Mountains for the next round of this championship. And as I said, a week later, we're at the Circuit Paul Ricard, so should be an absolute cracker. I'll be here. I know he will as well. Adam Reed alongside me for this one, and what an absolute pleasure it has been to be part of this particular championship. We'll be back again in a couple of weeks' time, as I said, for the Red Bull Ring. For myself, from the rest of the team here at Velocity Esports Racing, this production brought to you by Hyundai, Intercomp, Monster Energy, Brand Garage, Level Academy, and The Specialist. We'll see you in a couple of weeks' time in the Styrian Mountains in Austria. Take care. Ta-ra.